We are in a retirement crisis, people. And I can prove it. These following statistics will make you nervous as hell about retirement and hopefully spur you into taking action about your financial future. If this is your first time here, which it probably is because I just started this channel, press the subscribe button and the notification bell and you'll be notified every time we upload videos. So here are 11 retirement statistics that will make you nervous as hell in no particular order. Number 1, about 3.5 billion adults worldwide don't understand basic financial concepts. Now, S&P, they interviewed over 150,000 adults in more than 140 countries globally just to gauge financial literacy. And only 33% of adults worldwide could answer at least 3 out of 4 financial concepts involving risk, diversification, inflation, and compound interest. Now, a lack of understanding, it can create uncertainty and stress. So take time to become financially literate. If you know better, you can do better. Number 2, 1 in 3 Americans have nothing saved for retirement.
You got nothing.
Nothing. So the nation's retirement savings gap is between $6.8 and $14 trillion. So over half of Americans have no more than $10,000 saved for retirement. And 1 in 3 have nothing.
You got nothing.
Nothing saved for retirement at all. Number 3, women are 27% more likely than men to have no retirement savings. So nearly 2/3, 64% of women have less than $10,000 in a retirement savings account compared to 52% of men. Now, of course, it's harder for women to save because they only make 79 cents for every dollar a man makes in a full-time position. So to reach the same financial level in retirement, a woman must save 18%, while men, they just need to save 10%. Number 4, Social Security is the most commonly cited only source of income for retirees. Why does that make me nervous as hell? Because by 2033, Social Security will need to be cut by 23%. So nobody knows what Social Security will look like in a few decades. However, without reform, benefits will have to be cut. And that's according to the Social Security Administration. So in other words, what the IRS collects in tax revenue will only be able to pay 77 cents on the dollar. Now this is scary considering that Social Security keeps nearly 27 million Americans just above the poverty level. Number 5, the average age of retirement is 62. I talk to a lot of people and most do have plans of retiring around 65 years of age or older, unless you're one of those fire kids, right? But unlike Betty White, few people can really work into their 90s.
Next week is Betty White's 94th birthday.
I'm sorry you had to say the number. I was going to say it's my 58th.
So in U.S. News and World Report, they find that the average retirement age is 62. So health, by the way, is the #1 reason for people retiring early, followed by those unexpected job losses. So retiring when you want is great, but that's not always the case. Number 6, employees miss out on an extra $1,336 in employer matching funds each year. And this is equal to an estimated $24 billion nationwide that's lost in matching contributions. So according to financial engines, 1/4 of employees are not saving enough money to get their employer 401k match. That's free money, people. Contribute up to the match and get that free money. Number 7, a couple will spend an estimated, wait for it, $285,000 on healthcare expenses throughout their retirement. Health equals wealth in retirement. And Fidelity Research found that a couple who retired in 2019, both age 65, will spend that $285,000 on healthcare. By the way, that is up from $240,000 in 2015 and $190,000 in 2005. So longer life expectancies and higher anticipated healthcare costs are the primary factors for that number. Oh, and by the way, number 8, don't forget the rule of 219. So you may be asking, Marcus, what's the rule of 219? Well, the rule of 219 says that a couple in retirement would spend no less than $219,000 to put food on their table. And how do I come up with that number? Well, I didn't come up with the number myself, but that's 3 meals a day at $5 per meal, 365 days each year, over a 20-year retirement equals that $219,000. Hope you like McDonald's. Number 9, men age 65 have a 78% chance of living 10 more years in retirement. Women, 85% chance. So that's what's called longevity risk. Now, outliving your retirement savings is a legitimate concern because once you hit age 65, your odds of living for another decade or two is quite high. In fact, if you're both married and you both hit 65, you even have a higher chance of living into your 80s or your 90s. So you have to plan for a long, healthy life with enough money to enjoy it. Number 10, fees will rob you blind in retirement. What kind of fees? Convenience fees, installation fees, cancellation fees, ATM fees, check bag fees. It never ends. But these fees are usually expressed in dollar signs unless we're talking about Wall Street. Wall Street has some of the most elusive fee disclosures. So instead of dollar signs, they utilize percentages. And so let's talk about these percentages for a little bit. So you have these expense ratios, which are the most common fees in your retirement accounts. So if you have an expense ratio of 1.25%, that may seem low. But in terms of dollars, that fee will cost you $125 annually for every $10,000 you have invested. Now you compound that over time and that adds up. Making matters worse, that fee is subtracted from your market returns rather than your balance statement. Pay attention to fees. And last but not least, number 11, for you millennials out there. Millennials with student loans have $325,000 less on average in retirement savings than their debt-free peers. So in 2019, the average student loan totaled about $33,000. By the way, that's up from $10,000 in 1990. And millennials know all too well about the financial burden of college debt. It hinders a lot of things. So if you start your career with $30,000 in student loans, over the course of your working career, you're gonna have saved about $325,000 less in retirement savings compared to your friends that graduated with no debt. So the trick is researching career options and understanding how to reduce what's spent on a college degree, all right? So there you have it. Now, these retirement statistics made me nervous as hell. Now, I'm not sure what it did for you. However, if your sphincter tightened up just a little bit, then I would suggest getting with a good fiduciary advisor to help you along the way. If you like my assistance or if you have any questions, please feel free to email me those questions to the link below. Until next time.